Hi everyone! Today I wanted to share how to set up an archery range outdoors. I know not everyone has the benefit of living near a ready-to-go archery range, or maybe there just isn't one in your area. In that case, I hope this video is helpful to you. To set up your shooting area, you first want to find somewhere that is isolated and where there aren't going to be many people around. For example, I set up a temporary range for our archery club for our meetings during lunch or after school. You can do this in a soccer field, your backyard, or maybe even a garage. Just make sure that whatever area you're using, make sure you have permission to shoot arrows during that time. The most important thing is going to be figuring out the zones for your range. In archery, the most important lines are the waiting line, shooting line, and the target line. If you have more than one person or are planning to shoot with multiple people, then having a waiting line is really important. To be as safe as possible, you don't want another person to go get their arrows while you're still shooting. Make sure the other person stays behind the waiting line at all times. You need about 5 to 10 feet between this line and the shooting line, which we mark with our bow rack. The actual shooting line is where you're going to be centering yourself, and as mentioned before, it's going to be at least 5 to 10 feet from the waiting line. This is basically where you'll keep your quiver and where you stand every time to shoot. The next line is the target line. This is where you're going to be putting all the targets or bales that you're going to be shooting at. Keep in mind that you want something to catch the arrows behind the targets if you miss. If you're shooting indoors, a safety curtain is a really good idea, so you don't shoot anything past that curtain. And if you're shooting outdoors, having around 50 yards of space behind the target is generally recommended. I like to set up my club in this lower athletic field area of our school because, as you can see, there is a hill that prevents the arrows from going over. This is why you'll see a lot of ranges actually face the hillside, so that even if they don't have 50 to 80 yards of space behind, the missed arrows from archers are going to be hitting the hills instead of going into the road or going into the trees where it would be hard to find. If you plan on practicing consistently, having a set range distance is important. You can find the range distance with a rangefinder or even a tape measure by measuring your paces. In archery, we use the same rangefinder as you can find on golf fields. And some things to keep in mind is that if you're a beginner or shooting with beginners, it's recommended to keep the distance below 20 yards. So for equipment, if you are a beginner or someone trying a new style of archery, I don't recommend that you actually buy a brand new bow. A used bow is going to be more than enough, and you can search up archery forums, Facebook Marketplace, or even eBay for used bows. And I recommend that you buy a bow that is under 25 pounds. This is because as a beginner, it's important to have your form down before buying any expensive equipment. And to do that, having a lower poundage bow is actually much more helpful. So breaking down your range is going to be really important, especially if you're on a field that's used for other purposes. For us, we also share this field with other soccer players and athletes, so we make sure to clean up very well. And one thing is that you should never ever leave arrows on the field, because that could be a safety hazard to anyone else in the park or field that you're in. Because of this, if you're a beginner, you want to try to get fletchings for your arrows that are not any color and similar to the grass. One last thing is to make sure to take your string off for recurve bows if you are shooting a recurve bow for storage. This is going to be better for your limbs so that they don't get strained all the time. I also recommend that you have a set space in a garage or shed for equipment that will protect it from the sun, the rain, or any outside elements because it could damage your bow and your equipment. I hope that was helpful to anyone trying to set up a range or find a practice area. If you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments, and thank you for watching.